Hi, this is Tony, the host of the Flicks X-Raid podcast. Each week, I am joined by guests.
Hello.
Hello.
Yo.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
And we have a roundtable discussion where we dig deep and X-ray a bunch of our favorite films, and some really terrible ones too. We really like to go back and take a look at films that may be forgotten, maybe in the past, and still lovable films. If you want, you can follow us on all the major platforms, iTunes, Google, Stitcher. If you want to find out more, you can find us online at www.flicksxraid.com. And you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to reach out to us. Good night, Internet.
Hey there, this is John from Pino Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pino Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as
Filthy.
Okay.
reprehensible,
Crude.
Sure.
nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in.
Welcome back to our podcast. What is this? Pint O Comics podcast.
That's right.
That's right. And I am the Manster. I got Johnny Ganache here, and Sir John, and special guest, Andrew Morgan.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, he's such a special guest. We've said, why don't you come up with an idea for this podcast?
Yeah, fucker.
Yeah.
We're out of ideas.
So what do you got, Andrew?
We are doing top 5 movies of 1999.
99.
Yeah.
Good year for movies.
Excellent year.
It was a very good year.
I'm trying to think if there was a year that you could have made it harder to pick each of our top five.
Yeah,
1969.
That's a very good year.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You actually 69. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I don't know. What's...
Yeah, take a look sometime.
Okay. All right. Let's not get
Lost in the
Get
weeds.
off track.
let's not go 30 years back from where we're at.
I also think, what's the year? You should know this. What's the year of Jaws? 75?
75, man.
Yeah, that's a really good year.
That is
too.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some.
Jaws was born 4 months before me. So yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
75.
Do you guys celebrate at the same time?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Me, Hooper, Quint,
Narragansett.
Narragansett.
Chew on a couple hydrants or tanks or whatever.
Yeah, throw a tank down the gullet. Smile, you son of a bitch. So you came up with the idea for 99. What was the reason you picked? You could have picked anything. Now, was it because we're in 20 years later?
Yeah, 20 years later, and a book just came out. I wish I had the book title in front of me, but they did like a whole retrospective claiming that basically this is the best year in cinema. And I figured the tie between both of them, it was extreme, that I was just like, I want to talk about this.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You know what? Pint of Comics, great show. Love it, right? You love it? Have a good time? Yeah. Let's cut the bullshit. Let's get to the list.
Hey, I'm into it.
We all know that we could talk, so let's
get right to it.
Let's get right to it. Let's start with number 5.
Whip it out.
Let's whip it out. Let's show it to somebody and see what they think. Andrew, since you're the special guest and this is your show, you start us off. Number 5.
Hey, baby, let's turn down the temperature and find out who's dead in The Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis, young Haley Joel Osment, Toni Collette, before I know who Toni Collette was.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
She looked good in this movie.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
And the one thing I wanted to express about this movie, because sometimes when you bring this movie up, you get at least 2 negative reactions. One is M. Night Shyamalan's career after this movie, when everybody thought he was going to be the next Hitchcock, because his style is very Hitchcockian. You can actually see that more in Signs than you can in this movie, but he does it a lot and even inserts himself in his movies a la Hitchcock all the time, too. So everybody started giving him those comparisons because The Sixth Sense was a phenomenon. And Unbreakable is fucking great. I actually think that's his best movie.
Unbreakable is by far his best movie. Yeah.
But I still think that's, it takes away from the shine of what this movie actually was. Because a lot of people, I don't think, revisit this movie very often, which is the second reason, where people saw the ending of this movie and kind of went, oh, well, I fucking knew that. Or they saw it and now, like, their load was shot And now they don't revisit because why would you rewatch it to get to the ending that you already know that was the twist? Twist ending movies, it kind of sometimes it's hard for people to go back.
Right.
And 99 was kind of the key.
This one is a good one-time rewatch, and then maybe just stay away for many years and then go back to it.
And I think that's why it's a good highlight to do 20 years later to go, hey, you know how we all hate Shyamalan now? Well, guess what? His first 2.5 movies are very good, and you should rewatch them.
I heard he also regrets his cameo in it.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have a cameo in this one or no?
Regret them
He did.
all.
Yeah, he was a doctor.
Yeah.
He was a doctor in Unbreakable too, wasn't he?
He was a doctor in science.
No,
too.
he was the guard. He was the guard, right?
Or no, he was the guy they caught.
Right.
And then in Signs, he's just this.
No, he's a vet.
Well, yeah, but he's in the pickup truck.
Yeah.
That weird ass scene that they
Yeah,
have.
I know,
where
It's
he
so
interrogates him.
it's so terrible.
It's very put on.
I saw The Sixth Sense in theaters, and there's two things that I could remember very
I like
vividly.
Signs though, so just to say,
I do. Too.
I did too.
I do too. There's two things I remember very vividly about The Sixth Sense, and The Sixth Sense is funny because I saw it in theaters. I bought it on DVD. I did that rewatch where you watch it the second time, knowing what you know, and you see, okay, no one's ever talking to him,
Right.
You know, you get it. I have not seen it since, but the two things I always remember about that movie is the first thing is the ending of the movie when everything's coming together, and I still wasn't piecing it together.
Right.
My wife, my girlfriend at the time, was crying,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget leaning over to her and saying, because she had told me earlier, she said somebody ruined the ending of this movie for me. So she's crying in the scene where everything's coming together, and I leaned over and I said to her, I said, because I wasn't getting it. I said, what? And she goes, he's been dead the whole time.
Right, yeah.
And then I went, holy fuck.
I had the same experience at Weekend at Bernie's. I was just like, wait, what? He's been hanging out with them. What are you talking about? And you're like, somebody spoiled it for me.
The other thing that I always think about with The Sixth Sense that maybe doesn't get enough credit, Donnie Wahlberg in this movie.
So good.
Is so good.
He
and
lost
so
50 pounds to get down to that weight.
his scene is so impactful.
Yeah.
When he's just he's kind of doing that weird cry, and he's like,
I do.
He's in his little tighty whities.
I
and
know. I didn't know it was him. When
No
I first
clue.
saw
I did
it.
not know it was him the
No
first
clue.
time.
Same thing. And then he whether you do Kids on the Block or any of that stuff, he was in Band of Brothers. He proved himself. He did.
Yeah.
He's done enough stuff that as an actor, he proved himself.
Oh, he's a good actor.
but
Yeah.
that
He in one of the
scene-
Saw movies?
He was. He's in Saw 2. Yeah.
Saw 2.
But in that one scene, I'll never forget that because it's so he's so crazed and so sad in that scene. Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's a good pull. All right.
Yeah.
And the scene where he says, I see dead people.
Yeah.
The very next shot is Bruce Willis's face.
Right.
Right.
And in movies, whenever you get that kind of shot, that's the person. It's just, it follows. And they were afraid that was going to give away the ending. But
Well, this is
didn't.
also a context clue movie. It's not even stuff like that he used the color red to signal.
Yeah,
whenever
all the ones that were
ghosts were
otherworldly.
and then whenever Bruce Willis is there, the red is always
And
there.
Bruce Willis is never in different clothes.
Right.
He's always in the clothes he gets shot in.
Right.
And there was another one. The one when I rewatched it, 6 months later on DVD.
Right.
Or at that time VHS. Yeah. The scene that I always remember really standing out to me was there's a scene where he comes home from school and Toni Collette and him are sitting in the living room.
Right.
Toni Collette is sitting in one chair and Bruce Willis is sitting in another chair right next to him.
Right.
And David, or whatever his name was, comes home.
Right.
And they're just sitting there in silence.
Yeah.
And when you watch it the first time, you're just like, oh, they're waiting for him and they're not talking.
Right.
And then you're like,
no.
no.
Right.
No. So yeah, Shyamalan.
Same with at the restaurant when he reaches for the check and she pulls it.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You've seen. I'm assuming you've seen it more recently.
Yeah. They've staged this very well. All those little scenes
Yeah.
where you think two people are interacting and they're not.
Yeah.
And you just never get it.
Right.
Is this your guys' favorite
brilliant.
Haley Joel Osment? Because this is part of the Haley Joel.
No, mine might be
renaissance.
Tusk.
No. What'd you say?
No, I'm kidding.
He said Tusk. He doesn't.
I know you hate that movie. That's why I said
He doesn't
it.
want to get a backhand from you.
Yeah, because this is the time period where he, in 93, I guess that was, he's young Forrest Gump.
That's right.
So this is 6 years later, and that I don't think he did a ton in between. I know he did this, he did Pay It Forward, he did AI, all when he was young.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else
that's
he did.
right,
in
he
that-
did
in the-
AI.
Yeah. Secondhand Lions.
Yes. Yeah.
I would
That's with Michael
rather-
Caine, right?
I would rather watch
Robert
Tusk than
Duvall.
AI again. That's saying.
Yeah, I agree.
AI is two different movies because it's two different directors' visions. It's very complicated, and it's not good.
That was
whether or not it's two
and
different
I love
directors.
Spielberg.
It's just not good.
AI was on our old show From the Hip. It was brought up a lot because we all hated it, like in certain ways, and Vinny really hated it. Our old host Vinny really hated it. All right, so I guess we should do this. Maybe we'll go to John next. But does anybody have Sixth Sense on their list?
No.
Yes, I do.
So
Where'd you have it?
Where do you have it on your list?
I don't really have it in order.
Oh, okay.
I just have 5.
I've got mine in order. I guess the way I have it in order is I have a certain number 1.
Yeah.
And then everything else is kind of in there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I have it.
All right. Did you have one more thing you wanted to add to that?
No, I'm good.
I'll say one other thing.
Yeah.
This was the highest grossing, and I'm doing air quotes here, horror movie
Yeah.
until It in 2017.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Well, and considering that leading up to, because I think this was a summer release. I don't have it.
It was.
I have it right here.
Yeah, August. It was in August,
6th.
so they didn't have a lot of faith in it. And EW used to have like their summer movie preview. They put 134 movies in that summer preview. Sixth Sense, never mentioned.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it made $293.5 million.
That's incredible.
And if you were, just by that number
and that's
alone.
99 terms.
But if you go back to 99 and remember that, that was like
I
a
have the
word
top
of
10
mouth.
Oh, yeah,
of 99.
everybody.
Do you have that?
No, we'll do that later.
All right.
Did you see Sixth Sense? Did you see Sixth Sense?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well,
I
also,
didn't see it yet.
a little background on me, too. Number 1 in 99, this is my end of junior year into senior year for me. So I'm 16 turning 17, and soon to be working at a movie theater where all the late 99 movies I saw like a million times because you could see movies for free and see them all the time on your breaks and everything else. So I probably saw a movie that's not on my top 5, American Beauty. I saw it 14 times in the theater.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, when you're 17, it's like that movie's very impactful and whatever. And
it's a
now
good movie.
it doesn't age well. But
No,
How many
really.
times did you crank down to Thora Birch? Around that time.
huge cans.
Yeah.
My dick had skid marks on it by the end of that summer.
I pulled that plastic bag that was floating around and put it over my cock a few times.
Heyo. Sir John, what's your fifth?
I don't know if I want to follow that line.
It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, John.
Yikes! All right, let me look at my list here because I didn't put them in order either. I think for number 5, I'm gonna go with The Mummy.
I knew
Mummy was coming.
I knew Mummy was coming, but I'm amazed that's not like higher up for you.
No, I'll put it there because I got some other movies on here that are I like them much more.
So Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah,
Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, I love.
We talked
movie.
a lot about
Rachel
this.
Weisz is one of my top females of all time.
We just keep going there.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
No, as an actress, you.
Okay, all right.
I mean, she's gorgeous too.
Yeah.
But she had a run during this time period where she was.
Yeah, she was everywhere. Yeah.
Rachel Weisz is one of those actresses in Hollywood that's in like one of those relationships that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
She's married to Daniel Craig. I don't know if a lot of people
really?
know that. She's
No.
married to
For how
Daniel
long?
Craig for years.
Wow.
For years. She was married to Sam Mendes, the director of like American Beauty,
Yes.
and the guy who directed a couple of the Daniel Craig Bond movies.
Yeah,
He directed
yeah.
Quantum of Solace.
Yep.
And somewhere in there, she divorced him and then married Daniel Craig.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it's gotta be weird when you're.
Yeah.
That's gotta be weird when you're on the set and like your wife and that. It's like okay.
Yeah, Sam Mendes, like you said, American Beauty this year, and then Road to Perdition is a great movie.
Road to Perdition is great.
It's got a lot of great movies on
Yeah.
the subject.
So what do you like so much about The Mummy?
I have rewatched this movie so many times. I just enjoy it. The comedic element, the horror element, the storyline is fun. You know that I like the Universal Mummy movie, so even though it's not that great, the plot is good. And in this one, you get a hero that is not quite the hero. He's a very reluctant hero, which is really cool. And it just everything comes together. There are so many cool secondary characters. The one that plays her brother,
John Hannah.
John Hannah,
Yeah,
is
he's great.
fantastic in this. I mean, he
Scottish actor.
steals every scene he's in.
He always. It's not just the Scottish factor, but he always reminds me of not attractive Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean? Like if Ewan McGregor didn't have leading man looks, he could be John Hannah.
Yeah, and he's supposedly the foolish character, but he really isn't. He's smart enough to know how to get around things, but he's just like he's a spoiled rich kid.
Yeah.
So it all comes together really well, and I think the the dynamic between all the actors is really good.
It's a really good movie.
It
really is. It's not on my list at all, but it's a really good, solid movie.
Yeah, and the CGI does not hold up to this point. But at the time, we all were going nuts about it.
97 to 2001 or 2 is a really weird time in CGI.
Yeah.
Because it was like some of the best we had and some of the worst we had.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And they were really dipping their toes. I mean, and here we are in 2019, and there's still... I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard some people complaining about the new It movie. The CGI isn't great.
Oh, really?
And here we are in 2019.
Yeah, I've been hearing that, yeah.
You know? So, but again, The Mummy, I mean, there's just... Even if the effects weren't great, there's certain bits like when he does that opening the mouth and the sandstorm.
yeah.
I mean, that's memorable.
When
shit.
when he whips around and turns into sand.
Yeah.
It's just kind of cool. They did some really cool effects. I mean, and Arnold Vosloo, who doesn't get a lot of lines in the movie, really is pretty menacing.
He brings it home.
Yeah,
he brings
it's
it home.
good. It all works together. And then the story is open enough for the second movie, which I still enjoyed regardless. So
I consider The Mummy Returns, right?
Yeah.
So it's called one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
That was the second one?
I'm pretty sure there's a hot air balloon sequence in that movie.
There
really
is.
horrible.
That's
fucking trash.
Well, you haven't seen
that's a
the
bit
third
sad,
Mummy
but-
movie then, because it gets even worse.
that one I have not seen.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch The Scorpion King.
I will, my brother.
I remember my wife and I went to see The Mummy, and we had a completely different idea of what this movie was going to be. And when we got there, and there's nothing but high school kids, I'm already married in 99, married a couple years. Want to go see a nice, maybe smart horror or some kind of movie. And what we got was just not what we expected.
You got a period adventure.
Right.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
walked
I really
out
did.
there disappointed, but I have watched it again since. And I appreciate it more now than I did
It's not
back
a horror
then.
movie. It's a treasure
right.
movie.
It's a
with,
treasure adventure movie,
yeah.
and Brendan Fraser.
It's way more
sells
campy
it.
than I
Yeah.
thought it was going to
But
be
that's
going
that's
in.
the best parts of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's trying
just,
to take up the mantle that Indiana Jones left years ago. That
And-
they didn't do anything like it in between.
right, and they ramped up the camp factor, which you'd think it would be over the top. For me, it isn't. I mean, it's just
The first one's
Silly
good
humor.
enough. Like I say, it gets worse as it goes on. But yeah,
I like the
this
second
one's
one.
good.
All right, Lloyd. What is your what's your first number here? We're going
Well,
with.
I was going to slip something else in here since Sixth
what
Sense
she
is
said.
gone. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go off of the John Hannah thing and say another movie in '99 with John Hannah.
sure.
Anyone know?
This is on your list.
It's on my list. Yeah,
Let me look at my list and see if he's.
it was the last released movie of the year,
Oh Jesus!
and I'm sure this guy saw a lot.
Don't know what was it.
The Hurricane.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I've actually only seen it a couple times.
I've
It's
only seen that
long
once.
as hell.
It's
Yeah.
a long
3
movie.
hours long.
I did not fall asleep. So if there's a long movie that I did not fall asleep in, then
Congratulations,
apparently
yeah.
I like it.
No, it's a great Denzel performance in that.
Oh, Denzel, he's amazing. He's amazing in everything.
Yeah.
But this was really great. Probably the best since Malcolm X, I guess.
It is. I've only seen that once. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
really
good.
well done, and
It really
yeah.
rips your heart out too. When he gets
right.
taken and
God
and,
damn,
and put in
this.
prison.
I mean,
It's-
we can't. This is a movie based on true fact.
right.
So, is there going to be some stuff different? I'm sure. I don't want to get into the nitpicking.
Sure.
What I do know is the Canadian family, the commune,
Right,
those
right.
three, 2 men and a woman. So that would be Liev Schreiber.
Yeah,
He was one of the three.
yeah.
John Hannah and Deborah Kara Unger.
Oh, Deborah Kara Unger. Yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff.
So they sort of take on this young
Inmate. I mean,
no the boy.
Oh, the boy. Right. The boy who ends up.
underprivileged young man that
Right.
they see something in him and they realize he's a smart kid, but he doesn't have the good opportunity, and they take him from his family with his family's permission to go up to Canada, and they teach him to read. And the first book he picks up is, I forget the name of it, but it's the Reuben Carter book. And he reads the book, and then he gets them to all read it, and they really jump on the cause and say, this guy, we really believe that this guy didn't commit. It was 3 murders in the South, and he was just a victim of bigotry and
He gets
hatred.
railroaded so
Yeah,
hard.
totally railroaded. Yeah.
I mean,
And
based
ends
on a
up-
true story, but also based on I just love this song. One of the
Yeah.
best storytelling songs of
the
all time.
Dylan
Long
song, yes.
Yeah. It's
Long
like American
song.
Pie, but if it was good.
Yeah. You listen to that song and you're like, I just got the whole fucking story.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that they got the song in the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he gets, spends, I think, 19 years of his life in prison. I think one of the most impactful scenes for me is when he absolutely refuses to like wear the prison clothes and eat the prison food. He's like, I will physically be here for you, but I am not here. This is, I'm going to do this thing my way.
Right.
And he does, and he succeeds.
And this was a big hit for Norman Jewison, who he hadn't had a hit probably since Moonstruck at this point. Almost 12 years in between hits, and he used to be a bigger time guy. Like he did the original Rollerball. Like
I love that movie.
A movie,
the original.
Yeah. The Stallone Miss Fist. Also him.
Wow, that's been brought up twice.
Yes,
in 2 different episodes.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But this was big for him, and it kind of put his career a little bit like at the last great movie that he did.
Yeah.
It's funny too because, like I said, I've only real quick. I want to do something when we do these. Your first movie, Sixth Sense. Did you see it in the theaters?
Yes.
Did you see The Mummy in theaters?
Oh yeah.
Did you see this in the theaters?
I did not see her.
Okay, let's throw that in at the end. I'm just curious if we all went out and saw these.
Well, because I'm going to bring it up later, but this is like 99 2000 was first DVD player for me. So like the movies of this year were immortalized for me, where I watched them a million times. After the fact.
I think 98 was my first DVD player. It cost me like $350
dollars. Yeah.
Now you can get it for $10 at Sears.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a shitty one at my work for the break room that literally is this big. I'm making a very small hand gesture.
Well, I can't wait to tell you what my first DVD purchase was because it has to do with these movies. So I'll save it.
Well, I'll tell you mine later too.
What was your first VHS purchase?
Oh, I have no idea because VHS.
I do.
Well, I had a beta and a VHS growing up, so I don't know. Remember when we switched, and I was too young to probably remember.
It's too cloudy.
What do you got?
So you were saying the differences. I do know one difference is that the 3 Canadian people that came down, to help the cause. In the movie, they made it seem like they did a lot of legwork and basically solved the issue, but
not so much.
Really, not so much in real life. It was really the detectives involved. And this movie
Stop breaking things.
This movie was released on December 29th of '99, so it just makes it
right.
And it made $74 million.
Wow,
not a big blockbuster movie.
Couldn't be. It was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was too long to really.
Titanic is like one of the weird movies for that.
Yeah, Titanic and Lord of the Rings is the exception.
If you can't play 6 times in a day, you can only play 3 times a day. You're going to make that much less money.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, okay. So my number 5. This is where I struggled to really come up with my number 5 because I had a couple of odd ones that kind of had to get pumped out, and one of them in particular that it will never make anybody's list here, but I love it. But my number 5. Came out on August 6, 1999, same day as The Sixth Sense you brought up before. It is a early comic book movie, but not a Marvel or DC.
I know which one.
Mystery Men.
It's on my list.
The Baru Raja. And The Shoveler. And
what does he say? I'll get you... It's like I'll fork you before I fork it. Something, some stupid fork line.
I don't know this one at all.
Oh, you've never seen
Mystery Men?
No.
Mystery Men.
One of my favorite cameos is Dane Cook.
Dane Cook is the Waffler.
The Waffler.
The Waffle.
So Mystery Men is, John will correct me if I'm wrong, is a Dark Horse?
Not originally, but yes.
Okay. So
it's a Bob Burden comic, and he shopped it around to whoever would publish it. So.
Okay. So this is a movie made in, for 99. I think the director's name is like Raja Gosnell.
Okay.
I believe. It's I don't know if they've ever made anything else besides that. Ben Stiller.
No, it's Kinka Usher.
Kinka Usher. I'm sorry. Raja Gosnell is
Kinka Usher did not do another movie. Well, I think he's got like maybe 2 small movies, but for the most part, he does commercials.
Okay. Kinka Usher. Yeah. It is basically Mystery Men are a group. They're in this city that's basically
the city.
It's the city. It's Metropolis meets Gotham, and it is.
Well, what's the name of Greg Kinnear's character?
Greg Kinnear is
named after the city.
No, he's the bad guy is Jeffrey Wright, who plays Casanova Frankenstein.
Yes,
and he's got his disco goons. One guy is Eddie Izzard.
Just Captain Amazing.
Captain Amazing.
Captain Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Captain Amazing.
So the hero of this city is Captain Amazing, played by Greg Kinnear, who is a tool bag. But he's Superman, but he's a NASCAR Superman. He wears all these patches and all this
sponsors.
Yeah, he's got sponsors,
and he is a true hero. He's got super strength. He can fly. He can do all this stuff. But he's a douche barrel. And the Mystery Men are the second hand. But by saying second hand, they're really ninth hand people that come together to help become superheroes and fight crime in this city.
A great William H. Macy.
William H. Macy is the shoveler.
Yeah.
His superpower is he shovels.
Yeah.
I shovel well, ma'am.
He's a good shoveler.
In the comic book, now that the Mystery Men were actually part of the Flaming Carrot comics, and they were a backup line of characters. The shoveler in the comic book has a magical shovel that he found when he was working in the sewers one day.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like an Excalibur.
Right.
His shovel in the movie is not magical.
No, it's not. He shovels well.
He shovels
excellent
well.
shoveler.
He shovels well.
Yep.
Well, the same thing with the Blue Raja. Like when he finally starts to do it, he has like his mom's silver.
Right, yeah.
What does he like? Just dig the perfect hole?
No,
he uses a
he beats
shovel.
people up with a shovel.
Oh, yeah,
he beats people with a shovel. Hank Azaria, the great Hank Azaria,
Yeah.
man of a trillion voices, is the Blue Raja, who is this milquetoast white guy that lives with his mother. And he puts on like a blanket.
looks like Aladdin.
He puts on a blanket and wears like a turban.
Yeah.
And he comes up with an English accent.
Yeah.
And his superpower is he can throw cutlery.
Yeah.
So his mother,
But no knives.
but no knives.
Yeah.
Spoons,
forks.
Oh my
spoons,
God.
forks, and he uses a lot of like what do you want to say? Like may the folks be with you, stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He uses a lot of little lines like that, and his mother thinks he's great.
Yeah.
because she's like, you're such a
the
good
accent
boy.
again.
Do the accent for
Mom!
me. And Ben Stiller is the lead character. Ben Stiller is Mr. Furious, who
Furious.
when he gets really mad, he gets really powerful. Except he does not. he
And
just
this-
gets really mad.
And
That's
you're gonna
Ben
forgive
Stiller.
me. You're gonna
Yes.
forgive me with this episode, especially John, because I keep bringing up women who I thought were absolutely gorgeous at the time. But I was 17, goddammit, so I thought every woman was hot. But
Janine Garofalo.
Claire Forlani,
Claire
right? who the only movie I had seen her in
Mallrats.
before this movie, because I guess by '99 I watched Mallrats. So it was in this order. It was Police Academy, the Berlin
geez.
movie, like
Jesus.
the Russian movie. She's in that one,
that like
and
Police
then I
Academy
saw
9?
her in Mallrats, and then this.
She's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
She's so laid back in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
This-
like,
Well,
If
she
you-
had to be the opposite to Furious.
oh yeah,
If you've never seen this,
No, I have not seen it.
oh it's great.
before you leave, I'll get you my DVD.
right.
Yeah, Wes Studi, who's just
And one of my
This is
main
great.
guys of
He's the
'99
Sphinx.
is Tom Waits is
Tom
great in
Waits.
this movie, and he came out with Mule Variations, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, and my favorite of '99. So he killed it that year for me. It was my young formative years where I was like, Tom Waits is God.
so
Big year for Tom Waits.
Janine Garofalo, Pee Wee Herman's in the, or
Yeah.
sorry,
Paul
Paul
Rubens.
Rubens.
Yeah.
He plays the spleen.
Yeah.
He has powerful farts.
Yeah.
Kel Mitchell from Keenan and Kel and
Yep.
Good Burger
Yeah.
is the invisible boy who could only turn invisible when you don't look at him.
Yep.
Yeah. And my favorite that when they get all the gangs together is that the Goody Mob, the rap group with CeeLo
Yes.
Green,
Oh,
is
yeah.
in as the Goody Mob.
Yeah, Artie Lang is one of the bad guys in the beginning.
He's one of the Red Eyes.
The Red Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got to see
Oh,
this movie.
it's
It
loaded.
sounds
with
really
made
good.
Great movie.
no money.
Great movie. Made no. I saw it in the theaters. Maybe
Did you?
Maybe
It was
one of the
out
only
a
people.
week later.
I had the poster
Yeah.
on my wall
Yeah.
and everything.
Yep, saw it in the movie theaters.
I'm not sure if I saw it in the theater or not. I want to say yes, but I think it was gone before I could get to it.
I'm 98% sure I saw it with my wife and either her mom or her dad. And I could just have that memory of them just being like, "What the fuck was that?" Because you go in and you're like, "Okay, it's a Ben Stiller movie, but it's not really like a fucking goofy Ben Stiller movie.
It's different.
But it's a superhero movie, but it's not a straight superhero
Right.
movie. It is its own thing."
Yeah.
You have to see Eddie Izzard as one of the disco boys.
Yeah, yeah.
Eddie Izzard and Praz from the
Praz.
the Fugees
Fugees,
are the
yeah.
two main henchmen.
Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
All right, Andrew, what do you got for your next one?
South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Oh, geez, I should have seen that coming.
This movie, I think the theme of my next, 3 out of my next 4 picks is that these were like the early work of people who just stayed with me the rest of my life. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the thing about South Park is I liked South Park at the time, but the first season is good because Trey and Matt wrote those. It was like their labor of love, whatever. The second season, they started to let other people write stuff that kind of took the hand off the wheel a little bit. And the second season wasn't very good. And this is 99 to where like the third season where South Park gets really good, leads into this movie, and this movie is fucking incredible.
Saw it in the theaters myself.
I was blown away by this movie when I saw it, and like to have a movie that includes, you know, social commentary, racial relations stuff. I will never forget the Emancipation Proclamation line. Do you remember that? Where he goes, when Chef mentions it, he's like, have you ever heard of the Emancipation Proclamation? And the general that's in there, that's like the cigar smoking, like over the top general goes, I don't listen to hip hop. It's fucking so perfect. And like, there's so many things with this. And the main thing that came out of it is like a social thing that became huge, like a pop culture moment, was they sang "Blame Canada,"
the
song from at the Oscars, and Robin Williams sung it, I believe, with them. So it was like this incredible moment that they had. But the movie, the music is incredible. It's basically a musical. And the movie, it has so much commentary on war, about relationships, about like small town living, because that's what South Park is. They're so multi-layered for being a movie that's basically just crass and like like whole things about the, you know, the intimate relationship of Saddam Hussein and the devil and Satan.
Hey there, buddy. Hey, guy.
With like a picture of fucking Skeet Ulrich on the wall behind it. Like, so many detailed jokes in this movie, and it still sticks with me. It just makes me laugh from start to finish. Well,
I remember.
Yeah.
You remember?
This is a perfect segue real quick into the Pike Movie Invitational. I have your brother Jerry's list on here.
Yeah.
We're going to read it off at the end. And he said, yeah, I'd love to come back on again at some point. I said, well, we're having Andrew back on.
Right.
You could be the second two-timer.
Right.
South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut is his choice.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, because I honestly haven't seen this movie in many years.
Yeah.
And I love South Park.
It holds up.
I have never seen the whole movie. I've seen parts of it. I never sat through the whole
funny?
movie.
Terrence and Phillip movie starts everything.
I don't know if you've met Brian, one of the other guys that does a radio at the station at WESU with us.
I don't think so.
So he did a birthday episode this past week. And one of the songs that was played was "What Would Brian Boitano Do?"
Oh, it's so good. So goddamn
Played it
good.
on the drive time hour.
Yeah. There's a great part with Kenny going to hell where James Hetfield from Metallica does a song with them. Right. Little boy, you're going to hell. Like, it's so goddamn good.
And we'll bring it up on the episode with Jerry as well. But But when Kenny finally speaks, voice of
God damn it, I forget.
Mike Judge.
Oh yeah, well.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Mike Judge. They brought Mike Judge
see
in
him later
to do that one. Yeah.
Oh jeez.
John, what's your next one?
I won't keep it quick. It was Mystery Men.
Mystery Men. Okay. We've talked about it many times.
Yeah.
I'm nervous with Lloyd though, because I gave Lloyd one of the episodes we were talking about the Mask of Zorro and how much we loved it, and I let Lloyd borrow it, and he's like, not good.
Yeah.
So if it comes like a Mystery Man,
I didn't even make it through the whole movie.
All right. Well, you're gonna like Mystery Man.
So I know already that one of you doesn't care for my next movie. I don't know about the other two. This one was another December movie, December 17th, Magnolia. And another really long movie.
Yes, incredibly long movie.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that one.
I am a giant Paul Thomas Anderson fan.
Yeah.
I love everything he does except for Magnolia. And
You don't like
here's
this
the thing. I watched it in 1999.
Yep.
I thought the movie was way too long.
Yes.
And I thought that certain performances I didn't like, and I thought were way too over the top. And it's everybody's emotional for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's a slog. I really liked Tom Cruise in this movie. I think that relationship does it, and maybe it's because it's like a father-son thing. You can kind of relate more, and he's a lot of fun.
And you know the thing about the Tom
is.
Cruise character, T.J. Mackey?
Yeah.
He kind of created, first of all, he called up, was it Paul Thomas
he wrote
Anderson?
it for Tom Cruise.
He wrote it for Tom Cruise.
Because he has a strained relationship with his dad. Yeah.
And then when Tom Cruise saw it, he changed it all. He made it more to what the character is now in the movie
fascinating.
than what he was originally written as.
Yeah, because Paul Thomas Anderson, I think his dad was dying, I think, around this time, or just died or whatever. And then he knew that Cruise had a tough relationship with his dad, so he wrote it specifically for that. Mm-hmm. And this movie, especially being the follow-up to Boogie Nights, is incredibly bold for him, but I just didn't. It didn't resonate with me largely. Like,
I
there's a lot of good
Boogie
people.
Nights, man.
I love Boogie.
And I went to go see Magnolia, and I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
What is,
Yeah,
what
see,
is
I didn't see
going on?
Magnolia in a theater either.
I saw it in the theaters. This was in my heyday of like when I was living in Hamden with my buddies, and like I had days off during the week. I used to go to the movies alone a lot,
Right.
Because that was the time I
best.
can go. It was the best. And it's quiet, and I went to see this 3-hour motherfucker that ends with raining frogs.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what is it about it?
All right, so let me list. Let's see the actors. We didn't say.
It's a huge cast.
Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, William Macy, and Felicity Huffman, who's now on her way to jail. Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly, Philip Baker Hall, and others. But
isn't Amy Mann in that movie too?
She's not in it, but she
did the
She's on
soundtrack.
She does.
Is this why you
I
like
thought
this
she was a
movie?
small part.
Basically,
probably.
the writing of the movie was inspired by Amy Mann because he liked Amy Mann so much.
Well, this was the time period where what the hell's the name of the club in L.A.? Fuck. There's a small club in L.A. where a lot of comedians and indie singers and filmmakers, they all just hung out at this one place, and Amy Mann was a staple. Paul F. Tompkins, who you see, and There Would Be Blood later. Like, all his buddies end up being all these, like, indie LA comedians and all these stuff. And you see a lot of this, and Amy Mann is in there as well, where she would perform there a lot. I wish I could remember the goddamn name
I don't
of the
remember
venue.
either.
Yeah.
But I do like Amy Mann. I have this soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson's great at that.
Yeah. And the movie, and another thing, the frog scene, this actually happened to Philip Baker Hall. He's the guy who plays the game show host for the Quiz Kid.
Who was in Paul Thomas Anderson's first movie, which I like a lot more. Heart 8? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't he the guy on Seinfeld, Bookman?
Yes.
Yes.
Library.
Yes, he is.
So the funny story is that when he read the script, he's like, I have to do the script because that actually happened when I forget where he was, but he was in a place where it rained frogs for 15 minutes.
What?
Which is so fucking bizarre.
It's a weird weather. Something happens where wind will pick up frogs from an area, and they'll be scooped up into the atmosphere, and then they got to rain down somewhere.
I thought it was biblical, wasn't it?
Well,
Because-
it is also
this is an actual thing.
It
that
is
happens,
also
so.
biblical,
Okay.
which is Exodus 8:2. And if you pay attention in the movie, there's all kinds of references to 8 and 2.
Because isn't it rains frogs when things can't get any worse than they are,
Yes.
right? That's the whole idea.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck that movie. But anyways, good choice, Lloyd.
It was also Jason Robards' last movie.
yeah,
He died a year later.
He was dying in it too, right? Yeah.
Also, shout out. I was at this point in time, I was also a very big Kevin Smith fan, and part of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back was they have Magnolia fan as the person who gives them the shitty
right. Yeah,
review.
they go to beat him up at the end.
Right,
yeah.
they go to beat him up,
Yeah.
and that whole thing was because Kevin Smith came out after Magnolia and ripped it apart publicly.
I also really liked in the beginning of the movie where they show all these weird coincidences that just kind of show you how things are
I
connected.
literally have not seen this movie since '99.
It shows
I
a
probably
bunch of different scenes. I'll just tell you one that I remember. Things that really happened. And there's one guy who was scuba diving in a lake, and they ended up picking him up with one of those planes, the jet planes, to like put out forest fires
Right,
or whatever.
yeah.
So they scooped up the lake, and they picked up this guy, and they were dumping him, and he landed in a tree, and he died in that tree. But the weird part was the guy who was the pilot of the plane was in a casino where the guy he scooped up was the dealer. And he lost a hand, and he was causing a disruption. And it was the same two folks. And then that guy went and killed himself afterwards, the pilot.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just all these weird, crazy coincidences. And, it all ties in with the frogs and different links in the character.
Thanks for bringing me back to that one. Lloyd.
Yeah. So I'm glad I got a movie no one
What
else
is a
liked.
joyous movie? So-
Let's bring it up a little bit. And here we go. Number 4 of my list is my second movie that came out on the same day as my first movie, which also is the same day as The Sixth Sense. August 6, 1999 was a good day for the movies because Brad Bird's The Iron Giant hit fucking theaters. I did not see this in theaters. I saw this on VHS, and I remember I bought my wife a VHS copy that came with a little Iron Giant figure.
Yep.
Right.
And we watched it, and we talk about this. I cried my dick off.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
a really good
And then about 3 or 4 years ago, Fathom Events did it, and we went and saw it in the theaters, and it was the extended version, which I now have the Blu-ray of. This movie is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It's
great
that
movie.
old Don Bluth style Disney animation.
Yeah.
And much like you said about like how South Park had all these like social commentaries.
Yeah.
The Iron Giant does too. But it's
100%.
not a comedy. It's not a dick and fart. You know, it doesn't move. Like the South Park movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's in the guise of a dick and fart kid. This is an anti-weapon movie, anti-gun movie.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much heavy shit in this movie, and I just love it.
And Pete Townsend was one of the producers of it.
Because he originally wrote an album that was called the Iron Man, or Iron Man at one point, I think, that eventually
it's
morphed into this.
Yeah, it's based off of an old short story.
Right.
So it's the short story has none of this anti-gun thing in it. But,
Right.
There's a
But
scene.
the movie's really good.
There's a scene in the. There was 2 scenes, I think, in the extended edition when I saw it in the theaters that were longer. One of them was a scene, the whole scene with the hand going through the house. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
It's longer in that. But then there's a whole other scene where the Iron Giant is having a dream about life on his planet and about how they were all
I've seen that
guns
scene.
and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And you don't really get that until the end of the movie when
Right.
he loses his sentience and becomes what he's supposed to be.
Right.
You see it earlier in the movie. And it's almost like a World War II propaganda film where they show them all marching through this planet.
Right.
It's I don't know I can't talk too long about it.
It's probably one of the best things Jennifer Aniston's ever done on film.
And well, it's funny that my list is Jennifer Aniston crazy.
Yeah.
I know what you got on.
We'll get there in a little bit, but yeah, the Iron Giant is just fucking, to me, is one of those. It's almost like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And the voice cast is great. Harry Connick Jr., Jennifer Aniston, James Gammons as the and
Why I'm selling it. There's a large bite out of it.
and at the super at the top of his game is Christopher McDonald.
Yeah.
Who played obviously Shooter McGavin and everything as the Fed or whatever he is, the cop. He's just awesome.
You eat shit for breakfast?
And then Emmett Walsh is in it. So,
Yes, you're right. Walsh. Yep.
it's quite a few. There's a few other people that didn't get very many lines, but
No.
what's her name? Phyllis. Cloris Leachman.
Horace Leachman. You're right. Yeah.
I called her Phyllis.
And
God,
this
the
was-
show hasn't been
and-
on since 1976.
And I don't have the box office numbers. I didn't go that far, but this movie was a bomb.
Yeah.
This movie was a fucking hard bomb.
It tanked so bad it killed the Warner Brothers movie division, animated movie division. The guy that was in charge of it was fired the next day.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a big thing. They really expected this movie to be big, and it wasn't. And until now,
Right.
It's huge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was
It's even
right.
referred to in that movie last year, Ready Player One.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a big part of it
Yep.
was Iron Giant.
That's right. Yeah. I'm still trying to purge that fucking piece of shit out of my brain.
Wasn't a fan.
Andrew, what do we got next?
I'm debating between where to put the order of these last ones, but considering you brought them up, I'll put Office Space as my number 3. Yeah.
I'll show her my O face.
I will put on so many pieces of flair and kick your ass right now.
17 minimum.
17. Why don't you just make 17 the rule?
I haven't watched this movie in a long
I'm just
time.
gonna jump ahead for expediency. This is my number 1.
This is your number 1?
This is my number 1.
That's your
Yeah.
number one?
When I look at all these movies and I think about what I've seen the most, what I go back to the most,
Yes.
Well, it's a favorite list.
and I have the distinction. I saw this in the theaters.
Yeah, which is incredible because, again, another
Nobody-
one that was a bomb.
It was a
Nobody.
big
The
bomb,
reason
yeah.
I saw this in the theaters is because around that time, when I was living with my buddies, I used to watch Sunday night Fox blocks, and they used to
Ron
show
Mix.
the like King of the Hill,
Yeah.
Simpsons, and they used to show the trailer for this because of Mike Judge.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
They'd throw the trailer in a lot of times, and,
Right.
I just thought it looks like a fun office comedy.
Yeah.
And me and Lindsay, when we were first dating, we'd go see fucking anything. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, let's
yeah.
just go to the movies.
It's fucking Ron Livingston, who's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who I loved from Swingers years
yeah.
prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's incredible. And this movie is the movie that won't die because it's amazing that they made this movie, and especially him made this movie in response to kind of like that Gen X attitude of what the office jobs were, and kind of like that early Silicon Valley type, which you obviously see his real feelings and the extension of that now with Silicon Valley on HBO.
Great show.
It is a good show. And the amazing part of like how it resonates now, where so many jobs are boring office jobs, and everybody has felt every single line of this movie, and it just keeps going on and on.
Who's been lumber?
And there's and then the character actors that survive from this, between Gary Cole and the guy from Barry now, who's a Coen Brothers guy and everything else. The guy who plays Milton.
Stephen Root.
Stephen Root is amazing, from News Radio and everything else.
Everything he's done. All the voice over stuff he's done.
Oh, God, he's the best.
Bill Daughtry in King of the Hill.
Yeah. And goddamn, I mean, like
Was it John C. Reilly?
John C. Reilly is one of the Bobs. The other Bob is the guy from Cheers. Paul. Yeah.
You say John C. Reilly?
Is it John C. Reilly? Or
no, you're talking about the guy from Scrubs, right?
Yeah.
That's him.
That's not John C. Reilly. That's the
I
other.
get their names
you're absolutely right. That's John McGinley.
John
McGinley. Sorry. Yeah. John McGinley.
But again,
I always do that though with those two guys.
So many people in this either like were bit people that were thrust into this because
Deidre Bader.
Yeah.
Hey, Bader, turn on channel 10. It's titties.
And he just lives on, like, those lines are all, everybody, I memorized so many lines from this movie. It's so incredible. The jump to conclusions, Matt, I almost bought as like a purchase.
That guy's been in just about everything.
This is the worst idea ever. No, I mean,
there's a guy named Michael Bolton as a joke.
Oh yeah, Michael Bolton. That was
perfect.
Well, and then you get the other things about this movie that are.
Call me Mike. No,
it's got a fucking gangster rap soundtrack.
Unbelievable soundtrack.
The soundtrack's unbelievable. It's Ghetto Boys all over the place.
Ghetto Boys. It has Ice Cube. It has what's the what else is on that damn soundtrack?
The dogs are asking.
I know. Right? My dog's on. My copy's back there.
It won't come back to me. But there's so many people. I think, God.
Look, let me put it this way. Yeah. I don't buy, like, I'm at the point now where, like, I'm kind of like my DVD collection. Still have a ton of DVDs, and Blu-rays I generally buy either stuff I really want or stuff I want to have in a better version.
Yeah.
Office Space is one of the few comedies that I bought a Blu-ray of.
Yeah, there's no reason to like update the quality of it.
You don't need a better quality.
Yeah.
But when I turned it around, it was like $10 and it had like a documentary about the making of.
Right.
I want to see more about, because I for 20 years, I've loved this movie.
Yeah.
This is, there was a period where that movie owes a lot to Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Because it died on the vine, and then it got picked up on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Just huge.
Jennifer Aniston at her apex
gorgeous.
Hottest.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, for that age range.
And credit to her, she did a bunch of like indie shit around
she
this
did,
time.
yeah.
Like The Good Girl, the one that she did with
Steve Zahn, right? Was that, or that was
no, the one with from Donnie Darko, Jake
Gyllenhaal.
That's a good movie where it's a small indie project where she works at a grocery store and she's having like an affair. It's a very good movie if you ever want to check that out. She does a lot of these things, and because I think she got so much of her rocks off with Friends that she got every ounce of stardom that she could have out of it, and to do these small projects probably between seasons or something, it's a lot easier to do these 3-4 week shoot indie stuff versus like some larger blockbuster thing,
which all the other people from Friends were doing and failing at, and she kept doing all these small films and seemed to be succeeding at it. So it worked for her.
And it's funny too, because even though she was a huge star at that point, you don't ever think about Office Space and go, "Oh, it's a Jennifer Aniston movie."
No,
she's a part of she's a part of this awesome like
big ensemble.
And everyone, even if you're not even a rap fan, you probably know the lyrics, or at least most of the one that is in the printer beat of. So like, which is Ghetto Boys. I believe.
Ghetto Boys still.
Yeah. So
damn, it feels good to be a gangster. I just love that.
That's
honestly, it may seriously be like one of the few like almost perfect movies. Like, I can't watch it and go, oh, this part drags, or this
and I love
bit
Orlando Jones in it at the peak of like Mad TV too.
Oh my god!
It's like, why did I buy so many subscriptions to Vibe?
Hello there, sir. I am selling subscriptions to a magazine.
I used to sell crack.
Great fucking movie.
And then when he's sitting in there with him, he's like, "Yeah, man, we got to do this thing."
There's so many things like it's so good. It geeks me out at a lot of times, like in the Spencer Gifts kind of way, like that pop culture kind of way, like a red swing line. I would like when they had that, like just for some reason I need to have
a red
one.
swing line. I mean, this movie, everybody on Earth, even though you don't know what it is, knows what a TPS report is.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
And I remember they had a DVD set for like the special edition that had like a TPS report paper
cover sheet,
and then it had a red swing line, and it had like little like Post-it notes and stuff, and there was so many things that it was so perfect. And I was lumbered for Halloween.
Oh God,
he's a real go-getter with upper management written all over him. Okay, so I'm assuming. Let me see if I'm wrong here. Do we all have that on our list? No, really.
No, it's on my.
It was right on the outskirts of my top 5.
Wow,
it's on the list,
but
it's
I
not
do
my
own
top
it.
5.
It's one of the few comedy movies that I own. Yeah.
It's a classic. All right, John, what's your next one?
Cripes. Where am I here? And we're gonna go with the 13th Warrior.
That's a good movie.
Is that Banderas?
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
Michael Crichton book, The Eaters of the Dead.
It's a fight as to who actually directed the version that's out.
It's one of those.
It's one of those.
Somebody got fired off.
John McTiernan walked off it.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Isn't that
certain.
not the first one that McTiernan is associated with that?
Pretty much. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
I think if I recall, I saw
there
that
is
in
a
movies.
finished version of his that can be released if they ever chose to do so.
Interesting.
But the version that you see, it's debated whether or not Michael Crichton actually finished the movie or not. So,
that's interesting.
I saw that in the theaters.
Yeah.
That's another one I saw.
I love it. I just love it. It's just a fun
I
little
will be very
period
honest,
movie.
have not seen that one.
Me neither.
Good
Because it bombed.
It did. It bombed
absolutely.
hard.
Absolutely.
And this is around the same time period post Jurassic Park where they started doing a bunch of Crichton ones and failed miserably.
Right.
Yep.
Like Sphere is one of the
Sphere,
worst
yeah.
movies I've ever seen.
Congo, was that around
Congo
then?
was a
Yeah.
couple years before that.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is basically a D&D movie without the elves and dwarves.
Right.
It's a period movie. It's Vikings taking a guy that's been cast out of Arabia up to Scandinavia to deal with an invasion of a dragon or some sort.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You don't know what it is.
Right till you get up there, and it's pretty cool. The Scandinavian actors are fantastic.
Yeah.
They've honestly been
Yeah.
they've been in very little other than foreign spoken movies.
Right.
Not very many English language movies, but it's good stuff. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
This was
Omar Sharif hates it.
he was in it. Right? It was
Yeah.
it was one of his last movies too. I
It
think.
was close to one of them, yeah. But he hated it. He hated it. He's got interviews where he talked about his time on it. He's like, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
I enjoyed it. It's one of those movies. I could be talking out of my ass, but I think it was completed way before '99 and dumped in '99.
I think it probably was.
like
yeah,
made in
'cause-
'96 and
yeah,
sat for 3 years and then
Right.
they didn't know what to do with it.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah, and they had to change the title because the book title "Eaters of the Dead." Like,
Yep.
what the fuck does that mean? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Lo,
gross.
there do I see my father. Lo, there do I see my mother. Lo, there do I see my brothers and my sisters. Lo, there do I see the line of my people. Back to the beginning.
Look at that.
Wow.
I'm afraid I have that on DVD. I'm afraid to let Lloyd borrow it because my track record for Antonio Banderas,
It's on my
Lloyd
list.
Lendings.
Really?
Yeah.
You probably like this one. He's,
I
there's,
wrote it
there's a
down.
great scene where he's learning the Scandic language just by listening to him.
Yeah.
It's his
Yeah.
montage scene where because only one of them can speak to him in Greek.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a montage.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's good. I like
No,
it.
I like Banderas. I just maybe didn't love Zorro, but
That's a good movie. All right, Lloyd, what's your number? What are we on? 3?
all right. Yeah. So my number 3,
Magnolia.
I'm gonna say Fight Club.
Fight Club is on
Fight
my
Club,
list
a
too.
David Fincher vehicle.
Yep.
That is my number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be the lone one that has it nowhere near.
I know you're not a fan.
I
Yeah.
am not a fan of this movie.
Now, are you not a fan of Fincher? Are you not a fan of Chuck Palahniuk? Any of that stuff?
Fincher's not really one of my favorites, but that movie itself just doesn't resonate at all with me.
What do you like about it, Lloyd?
It's not to like about it, really. Yeah.
Everything that
Yeah.
I dislike
Yeah.
about it,
I can
probably
tell
like.
you two people. I can tell you right here. Our buddy Sir John's not a fan, and I had a conversation once with our friend from Ghost of the Stratosphere, Stu. and he fucking hates this movie.
Really?
He fucking hates this movie.
And Stu and I don't agree on a lot.
Yeah.
This movie has another problem, and it was hard for me to put it number one because I'm always afraid of the conversation around Fight Club, because there's a couple of things. Number one, this is a movie that if you're a bro, you love this movie for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons, yes.
So you could be talking to someone and they'd be like, yeah, man, that movie fucking rocks. And they tell you all the stuff about like the destruction and the, Bob Big Tits or, Bob Bitch Tits or fucking, Jared Leto getting his face annihilated or something, all the things that it's like, yeah, okay. But then like if you get into the actual philosophy of it, the actual filmmaking in terms of like trying to conceal Tyler Durden for what he actually is and everything, kind of like the Sixth Sense stuff,
right,
where there's Easter eggs to all these things and there's a rhythm to it, and some of the speeches that go through. I think it's in a weird sense, this movie is Office Space taken seriously.
Yeah,
where it's a counterculture thing. It's not wanting to put up with the sterilization of the '90s that was definitely happening. Like this office, like you're just settling. Like I think there's a speech that Durden has at one point saying like, there was the Great War, and then there's the Vietnam General. Like we had no Great War. Our and we didn't live through the Great Depression. Our Great Depression is our lives, and that's kind of like how a lot of people felt at this time. And that's why for me, I think the movie really lives on in the same way Office Space does, because I think a lot of people still feel that way as we get into this more isolation life that we have, the social media where people are two different type of people. You're one way online, you're one way to someone to their face. It's a very different way that we live. And the Fight Club thing is just kind of like bringing you back to reality.
Yeah, probably why I didn't like it.
Because you don't want to be in reality?
No, because the philosophy of it is a bunch of fucking bitch whiny shit. I mean, it's just, give me a fucking break here. You're going to cry.
Well, it's not your generation's movie.
No, it's not. And the fact that he likes it, because he's so fucking old.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
So did you see this in theaters?
The more you talk about it, the more angry I get.
I don't remember if I saw it in the theaters. That's how bad my memory
It's also
is.
amazing.
I don't know if I did.
Though.
I don't remember.
So what are...
I know I've seen it on DVD plenty of times.
Yeah.
To me, it's Ed Norton's probably best movie.
I think that's another reason I didn't like it.
Oh, you don't
You didn't like
Norton?
Norton?
No, I had a girlfriend at the time that just thought Ed Norton was like something that she needed to lick on. So I had to
Weird.
I had to watch
Not Brad Pitt. Huh?
I had to watch every Ed Norton movie back to back, and I'm like, okay,
It could be worse.
Rounders is okay.
I like Rounders.
And now a question of etiquette as I get up. Do I give you the ass or do I give you the crotch? There's so many lines in this movie, and again, the idea behind it of this like this duality of this guy.
Yeah.
And what his life is in his head supposed to be.
Right.
And
he's everything that he wants to be.
Cornflower blue. My boss wore cornflower blue tie today. And then as he starts to realize that there's something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always dug it myself. I'm a big fan.
He regresses as Durden kind of bulks up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Throughout this.
As he starts to let Durden out.
Yeah.
He starts to not only regress, but he starts to
wither. I mean,
he becomes he is Durden. He becomes Durden as this thing goes along. And again, it's also much like the Sixth Sense, it's you don't know what's coming until you see it. And then this, unlike the Sixth Sense, I've seen many times since, and there's so many bits. Like there's bits in the movie where Durden pops in and out.
Right.
Before he even makes himself known. Like, I think there's a scene on the escalator.
Because it's
it happens early on, the splicing and
well, this is the thing when he does the splicing of the porn in Bambi or whatever it is. That like a lot of that time period, like they see the splicing.
Right. Even before then, though.
But I mean,
before they bring that to light.
I'm saying there's scenes in the movie early on where Tyler Durden pops in real quick. Like there's no scene I think where he's on like maybe an escalator or one of those walkways where he goes past him and he pops in.
Yeah.
So there's all these clues that it's coming.
And so going back to our DVD conversation, I bought my first DVDs were a 2-pack of Fight Club which is my number one, and then my number 2 movie. So.
Do you now is your Fight Club DVD the one that looks like a package? Like it looks like it's a package. That's my Fight Club DVD. It's one of the few DVDs I kept.
I forgot whether it's
when I bought the Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray
is
a shitty version.
Yeah.
But I wanted an upgrade, but I kept the DVD because the DVD is like an incredible version.
I want to say, yeah.
It's like Memento.
Yeah, because it looks like the soap pack.
The soap pack.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly the one I have.
And do you have the date when this came out, Lloyd?
October 15th. It made 100.9 million.
If I remember correctly, that was not. It wasn't like filmed, and I think it was delayed. I think that was supposed to come out like in the spring, and then they pushed it back.
It makes more sense here.
Yeah,
I think, because you don't want to fight into that, like, getting into early summer season. You don't want it to fight. You want the messages here to not get lost in, the fireworks of a summer blockbuster season.
Right.
Which I'm sure Mummy was a part of that, and I'm sure I'm trying to remember what else were like the
South
big
Park.
ones.
Mummy was
South Park, Toy Story 2 probably.
Yeah.
that came out then, too?
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
yeah,
right.
right.
Oh, yeah. That was
Yeah, you
number
would have
one.
been screwed. So I'm glad that it got pushed if that was
And let's be
the
honest,
philosophy behind it.
on totally just like looks level, this is the movie where Brad Pitt has that thing,
the
that
hip thing?
that hip,
The hip
thing,
muscle thing?
that like I'll never get.
This was I remember, the deep dive of the pop culture of this movie is that his diet was like known as like a thing that he like only had like water with lemon and cayenne pepper for like weeks,
Right.
Like to
So you can
slim
cut
down
down
to get
that
that
much,
cut.
yeah.
And
Lemon, cayenne,
Yeah.
pepper.
yeah.
That'd make me
And
pissed
to me,
off.
this is when Brad Pitt's career changes for the better. Like before, you're talking that he's doing movies that is given to him strictly based on like his looks and the thought that he could be a leading man.
Legends of the Fall.
Yeah, Legends of the Fall, Interview with the Vampire.
Grow
all
your hair
this, like,
long and look
shit.
hot. Yeah.
Right, basically.
Yeah.
And then, he has the small stuff with True Romance where it's like, oh, okay, I could see that he's just this amazing character actor who could do anything.
Don't condescend to me, man.
Yeah.
Fucking kill you.
And then this movie, after 7, it starts to, turn the tide.
Oh, shut up. That's a great
I
movie.
fucking hate that movie.
12 Monkeys as well. He's great in that.
No,
too.
I like that. I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're starting to see this where he really dives into characters and really does his best stuff. Snatch is right after that, too. It's the year 2000, so I think it's his next film. So, I mean, this is where I think this is, key Brad Pitt for me.
All right, so this is the last one on my list that I can really talk to because we've already my number one and my number two. I'll just say it now. Number 1 is Office Space. Number 2 is Fight Club.
Right.
But my number 3 is the number 3 that not many people are going to have on their list, but I think John might have it on his list.
You know where it is.
Came out in March 19th of 1999. I did not see it in the
left
theaters.
on the 20th.
It left on the 20th. It is. I love it. It's just such a fucking good movie. It's hard. You can't pigeonhole it. Ravenous. That's it.
Oh, that came out that year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ravenous. I remember going to the theaters.
I definitely didn't see it in the theaters.
The
I
thing
don't think many people did.
the thing I always
bad. I
remember
didn't see
about going to the theaters, and I saw the trailer for Ravenous, and that's where I got interested. There's one bit in the trailer that I remember seeing in the theaters and going, that movie looks weird. Because I went to go see whatever else. Maybe it was Office Space. And they showed the trailer for Ravenous. And the one scene that I still remember, and I actually watched the trailer to kind of remind myself, is there's a scene where the great Neil McDonough is in the river and he's screaming.
Yeah.
And it's in the movie. It's like a 1 second thing because they're kind of introducing the characters.
Yep,
and
and
that's it. And I remember seeing that in the trailer and just going, what is this movie about? Well, it's a vampire movie by way of what do you call it?
The Wendigo.
Wendigo. So it's set during the after the Spanish-American War.
I could never quite figure out when it's supposed to be set.
Yeah, it's weird. It's this weird outpost where they send John Boyd, played by who at this point, this was the first movie after L.A. Confidential that I think gave him that kind of cred was Guy Pearce.
Right.
He plays John Boyd, a guy who ends up in the army getting a promotion because he's the last guy alive in the battle, but he lived because he was a coward.
Right.
They send him out to this weird outpost where he ends up meeting this incredibly weird cast of characters. David Arquette. What's the guy's name?
Isn't the guy from the Full Monty in this?
Robert Carlyle.
Yeah.
He is Calhoun. He is.
Yeah.
Boy, is he the good guy? Is he a bad guy?
Jeremy Davies.
Who's being licked in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you never seen this?
Jeffrey
It's
Jones.
been- I haven't seen
Okay.
it since then. So like, probably
This is
it's
one I
been
go to every couple
18,
years.
19.
Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah.
The guy with the McDonough?
Neil McDonough.
Neil
Neil
McDonough.
McDonough is a blonde hair. This is like Neil McDonough. This might be his first kind of like.
It's early on.
Early on. He was in Star Trek First Contact. He was Lieutenant Hawk.
Oh,
he just was the guy who ended up being on the Enterprise crew that you never knew about before. But this, I don't know. I love this movie. I can't. Is it a horror movie? And if I don't want to get into it here, but like
it's hard to say what this movie
is. This movie
weird.
filmed in like Croatia or something. And the original director got fired within the first like 3 days. And they brought a woman in, Antonia Bird. They brought her in,
and she's passed on.
And she passed on last year.
Yeah.
And they brought her in like as a last minute replacement. And you know,
it's so good.
It bombed. It did nothing.
Yeah.
But it's so solid. It's so fucking solid.
This is a Miramax movie, Ray?
Probably, yes. Yeah, it's definitely.
I want to say that's how I heard of it because I didn't hear about it when it was coming out, and then I think because I was watching literally like every fucking Miramax movie that I think it was on like the trailers on the VHSs that I had,
right?
And then caught it on that, and I enjoyed it at the time. I just haven't revisited it since like probably 2000.
I remember seeing the previews for it, and then it just was gone.
Yeah. No, disappeared.
Yeah.
Made no money.
Nope.
Totally disappeared. But for me, it's just one. I this is one of those movies that I remember in the DVD days. Like, so this came out in '99. So let's say 2000, probably around 2003 or 4, when I just never could find it on DVD.
Yep.
I'm one of those guys that like I'm not going to spend a lot of money on a DVD.
Right.
You know, and this one I finally found somewhere for $25 and I bought it. Because I was like, I'm not seeing this anywhere. And I want this movie. And now, like, I have a Blu-ray copy I got for like $9. But back in like 2005, I was like, $25, I'm buying it because I can't find it anywhere. And it was bare bones. There was
nothing on it.
I did that with the Kentucky Fried Movie because I thought they were never going to put that on Blu-ray or anything. It was just going to get lost in the shuffle. And then, of course, now it is. So.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, what do you got next?
Well, so I'm in the same boat as you. Like, all my ones are spent except for my number 2 because my Fight Club was number 1. The Matrix is number 2. And I am blown away that it's not in your top 5, so I feel like I'm going to be dying on the vine here. So
no,
it's my number 1.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest about The Matrix. Okay, take the sequels aside.
Yeah, because they're not good.
No,
I think The Matrix is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that I was never on board with as everybody else. I always liked it. I think it changed things. I think it was very cool.
The tech blew everyone out of the water. And if anything this movie is that you could take away the philosophy, so you could take away a lot of the things, it's strictly just a goddamn good kung fu movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much good. It's so, like, from that point on, like, since that portion of the movie on, like, the scene with Lawrence Fishburne in the dojo is
it's pretty
incredible.
cool.
Yeah.
And then every subsequent scene, like, they do the great gunplay with, you know, the shootout in the lobby there.
Yeah, I love that
before they get
scene.
back in the elevator.
Yeah.
That is groundbreaking stuff. And then they go up to the roof and then do the bullet time stuff, which nobody had ever seen. And then it gets crazier when he fights Smith in the subway at the end. And
Mr. Anderson.
Some of the best lines come from him.
Hugo Weaving,
he's just incredible.
A guy that he's an Australian,
Yes.
right?
He was in Tu Wong Fu, or
right? I think I saw
Priscilla Queen of the
Queen of the
Yes. Yeah. And I saw that just before this.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I did see that before I saw Matrix, and then all of a sudden he's the biggest thing, and he's in Lord of the Rings, and he becomes this huge star, and he deserves it because he's really good in this.
Steals the movie.
He does. He really does. Because, I mean, that's the one thing is that I'm not a big Keanu Reeves fan as far as, like, his performance. And even in this movie, he's all right.
Yeah.
But, like, the cast is so deep in this movie of really good performances.
Joey
like
Pants.
Yeah.
Joey Pants. I mean, Fishburne owns this movie for probably the first half of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know... Yeah,
Carrie
Ann
Moss
is
incredible.
really good.
Yeah, she was a nobody.
I mean, we discussed when I did the Memento episode. You know, Carrie Ann Moss and Joey Pants are in that.
Yeah,
and I think
that's
like and that's in 2000. So that's like kind of the follow up or in between of the Matrix series for them. This is the time when I was really getting into it because. You know, even though I watched Goonies as a kid or certain other roles that maybe Joey Pants used to be that guy where it's like you didn't know who he was, and then all of a sudden,
Fugitive,
like,
man.
it's like when you ever buy a car and you're like, I've never seen a car like this, and then you buy the car and you see them everywhere. That's Joey Pants to me. It's like I never saw him, and then because he was such a bit role guy, that I saw The Matrix, and then I saw him in everything.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
And he's great.
Yeah.
He's a great role player. And even though the sequels don't live up to the promise of this, I still think it holds well that this movie could have been a one-off movie.
It should have
easily could have been a one-off movie. And I think a lot of people, this is one of those movies that if this isn't the bullet time stuff, if it wasn't like the amazing tech that it was and it was just trying to live off its philosophy, it would have been a movie probably like Blade Runner, where it's like a great one-off. It doesn't have any sequels. It's monumental, and then we move on. But instead, we got multiple sequels, and obviously a fourth, I think, is coming. And actually, if anything, I like the most.
Fourth?
The Animatrix, the animated movie they did in between, is actually really good.
Yeah. You know what was rough about the Animatrix? Is I saw it in the theaters, and it was attached to one of the worst movies I've ever seen in the theaters.
What?
Stephen King's Dreamcatcher.
Oh, it's an awful
That's
movie.
not good.
Awful movie.
Even the book isn't that
That was
great.
a date movie for me.
I think it might have been for me too. The Forgotten Cinema podcast, my buddies Mike Field and Mike Butler, who I was just on their podcast, they do an excellent Dreamcatcher episode.
I'll have to listen to it and try not to poke my fucking eyes out.
Yeah.
I hated that movie.
Just punch yourself in the
wasn't the
dick
best.
while screaming, I did it.
Remember, I was going to say, remember earlier when I said how awesome Donnie Wahlberg was? I take it the fuck back.
Yeah.
I remember.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. So we got through to your number one then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went Fight Club, Matrix, Office Space, South Park, and Sixth Sense.
Okay. John, what do you have next?
What the hell are we on?
This would be your
This
number
would be your number two.
Oh, my number two. My number two would be Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is a good one.
I like my Guy
Early
Ritchie
Guy
movies.
Ritchie, yeah.
Early Guy Ritchie, Sting.
Yeah.
It's got Sting in it.
He's
Sting,
not,
ding, ding.
he's not stung. He's not stinging. He's sting. He's a verb, present tense.
Stinged.
Yeah.
I have not seen this movie in a long time, but I do remember liking it a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
It's not my favorite of the Guy Ritchie movies, but
No, Snatch is
yeah,
far
Snatch.
superior,
I
yeah.
think is
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it'd
agree.
be King Arthur.
no, Snatch is the best of the.
No, it's swept away, the Madonna movie.
But for 99, it hits the top five.
This is pre-action hero Jason Statham.
It is. Yeah.
This is when Jason Statham was just like a character actor who at no point you would think would throw a kick or anything.
And he's kind of a nobody in this movie,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's such a big cast. It's ridiculous. And again, I mean, there's not a lot of people in it you're going to recognize.
Well, you will from future Guy Ritchie movies,
Sure,
maybe.
yeah. Later on, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy before. But at this time, there's not a lot of big names in it, and they all speak with English accents. So those of you that can't handle that,
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just English accents. This is like hardcore.
oh yeah,
Hello, mate.
well, they're not nice people.
And then he steps up to do Pikey in the next one.
Oh
that's
yeah,
a good-
it's even better.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as a plot line, if you need it, it's really convoluted.
It's been so long since
Yeah,
I've
this is
seen
one.
this.
Is this one about the stolen gun?
It's partly about a stolen gun.
Yeah.
It's about money that's owed to a rigged gambling setup that then ends up with who gets the money, and then the guns are taken, and it's who gets the guns.
Okay.
It's a big
And
roundabout.
Snatch is not too far off from that, to be
they're-
honest.
they're
It's a
very-
lot of the similar.
They're very.
Yeah,
I always
very
felt they were
similar.
very similar.
They are.
yeah,
They are.
they are.
But this one is like lower budget, I would
Right.
say, compared
Yeah.
to.
Oh, yeah.
More characters in
Big time.
Snatch. Kind of a bigger cast of characters and what's going on in Snatch.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, you get Dennis Farina, you get these people that you
Yeah.
would not have gotten.
Yeah.
You know, Sting is kind of like the get in this one.
Yeah, pretty
Like, wow,
much.
they got Sting to play the guy's father in 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
oh,
yeah,
ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
And this is like you said, like this is Guy Ritchie's first movie.
First big movie,
So
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, he did one short beforehand. That was it.
oh, okay, I didn't even know that much.
Yeah.
But I thought he was so cool off this
Yeah.
one, and Snatch just blew it out of the water.
You know what he
So
did
I
after
was-
this one? Madonna. Her bony man arms. All right, Lloyd.
Man,
What do we
My
got for
list
you?
is done. All I got left is honorable mentions.
Okay, so
Same here.
So Sir John, I guess
My
we get down-
number one is Ravenous.
Okay.
Okay.
It was Matrix, just like.
Okay, so let's just really quickly wrap up our list. Then I'm going to read off some. I'll read off some of the our friends. You could do your honorable. We'll do honorable mentions too after we read off our list.
Sure.
So number 5, Mystery Men. Number 4, Iron Giant for me. Number 3, Ravenous. Number 2, Fight Club. Number 1, Office Space. Number 5, Mystery Men. And you guys are going to laugh at me, but I truly love this movie. It's a certain type of movie. I saw it in the theaters. I loved it, and I still love it to this day. Deep Blue Sea. That
was on my list.
Right?
That is like a shark's fin, man.
Yeah, my head's like a shark. It's one of those just stupid. I get it, creature films.
Well, but
I have so much fun with that movie, and it has one of the greatest jump scares of all time.
99 has two of the movies that are like this that I can think of off the top, maybe three.
Lake
where
Placid?
it was yes, and so this is like that funny creature movie. Yeah, it's perfectly like just popcorn.
I saw
crazy
Lake Placid
movie.
on video when it came out in like 2000.
Yeah,
had not seen it again. About 2 weeks ago, it was on Crackle.
Oh,
I'm going through Crackle. I watched it.
That's still around. Huh?
I'm like pissed that I have not been watching Lake Placid
Lake
for years.
Placid's a blast.
It's an absolute blast. All right, so if I were to give out like my honorable mentions, it would be Deep Blue Sea, Sleepy Hollow, which I feel like is like the last of the good Tim Burton movies, pretty much of that Tim Burton era.
I sneaked in to see that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I like Big Fish a lot, but that's the only
not.
one towards the end.
Blair Witch, I think deserves an honorable mention because even I enjoy that movie, but it's such a phenomenon.
I watched that with Sophie recently,
Really,
and she was like, "Dad, how long? When is this movie going to end?"
I could see where a kid might. But she doesn't know the story behind
Yeah.
it. People thought that shit was real.
Yeah, that's what I tried to explain.
And those kids are so annoying.
Yeah.
Why'd you lose the map?
And my last honorable mention is a movie that I didn't see till 2 years ago, but I had heard people talk about so much. Galaxy Quest. That movie's fucking great.
Yeah, that one has never been one of my favorites of all. I mean, all the fan people that love it, I'm like, yeah, I get it.
I enjoy it.
It's enjoyable. That's about it. Yeah, I'm not over the moon about that.
Andrew, your list and your honorable mentions if you have any.
Number 5, Sixth Sense. Number 4, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Number 3, Office Space. Number 2, The Matrix. And number 1, Fight Club. Some honorable mentions that were close. You mentioned Blair Witch. I have it on my list. Election. I absolutely love the Alexander Payne movie, especially that's like the first big movie for him, too. He went on to do About Schmidt and a few others that are really good. Go. I think is awesome.
Go,
I'm a big Doug
Go.
Liman fan. Because again, he did Swingers, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and then he kicks off the Bourne movies, and
That's right. He did the first Bourne movie.
so he what's that Tom Cruise movie?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that one
good,
too.
yeah.
So Doug Liman's very inventive
Supposed to be a
and
sequel
very
to
good.
that coming out.
Yeah.
And then Three Kings. I like a lot.
We three kings are stealing the gold.
It's interesting seeing like Clooney take a risk kind of with this being
That's the
like
movie where Clooney punched the director in the face,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's like a known
And it
like
shows like the intensity that Clooney has in this movie and the bravado and everything else. David O. Russell gets that out of people whether they want to or not.
I've seen those videos of him and Lily Tomlin.
one? Yeah, and I heard.
I'm not even.
I hate that fucking movie.
There's that one video of him, of Lily Tomlin, Mark Wahlberg, and Dustin Hoffman in a car.
Yeah.
And his disembodied voice arguing with Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
And they're calling each other the worst names ever.
Oh, yeah.
But the best part of the video is watching Mark Wahlberg and Dustin Hoffman try to look like they're just getting through this.
Yes. Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg just looks like a little kid, and Hoffman just looks irritated.
Yeah.
Brutal. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then one other one. Well, actually two. Both comedies. Bowfinger, I think, is one of Eddie Murphy's best performances.
Across the highway.
It's so good. That
certainly
scene is amazing.
It's not. It's an unusual role for him.
And Heather Graham's really great in it too. That movie's really fun and I'm very underrated. And I got to say, especially because I'm 17, it's a big. The seminal comedy is American Pie, and to be honest, if anything, I like the performances of the four senior or five, whatever, three guys, 3 girls, whatever it is that pairs off. But to me, Eugene Levy is the best thing in that movie, and it made me go back and watch other Eugene Levy movies. And then, of course, I ended up being a big Christopher Guest fan and seeing him really blossom through all those movies too. So I think, if anything, I got from that is that and How to Fuck a Pie.
Yeah. And you've excelled.
A nice warm pie.
And everybody started saying MILF from then on. And so thank you to my search history.
John Cho became Sulu in Star Trek. His character is the one that the
Isn't it
screenwriters.
Is it him and Cal Penn?
No,
that's Harold
him and just another guy, but
yeah.
he says MILF in that movie, and that is the actual genesis. I mean, the screenplay is, but that was the first time that was ever.
Yeah, they mentioned that they didn't invent that in the script, that it was something that maybe was in Maxim or was like kicking around online that they just kind of pilfered, but no, it wasn't like a big term,
Right.
and then it became the biggest term.
Stifler's mom.
I know.
All right, John, what was your list?
Let's see. From the top, or from the bottom, however you want to look at it.
Go from
The Mummy, Mystery Men, The 13th Warrior, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and number 1, Ravenous.
He's licking me.
Love that movie.
You guys turned me on to that movie.
Great movie.
It's great. It's one of those unsung
Giant bear
heroes.
trap.
As far as also rans, what have I got on here? I got Titus. If you've never seen Titus,
I have seen Titus.
Titus is an amazing film.
Yeah.
Is that Anthony Hopkins?
Anthony Hopkins, Jessica Lange.
It's
been
a
a
Shakespeare
long time.
movie. It's a Shakespeare story,
yeah.
but done
I
completely
think Julie
differently.
Taymor directed that.
Yeah,
That was
the
the big stretch of Shakespeare redos, whether it was obvious like in Othello where they called it O and it was garbage.
Right.
But then they had things like that.
This
and
was
then
just incredible.
I think even 10 Things I Hate About You is based on a Shakespearean
which
play.
is also on my list.
It was on mine too, but I left it off. But that's a great Ledger.
Never saw
I think it ages well because of Ledger and
never seen it.
It's just really well acted.
Yeah.
As
far as like the teen movies of the time, it's great.
Yeah, it's fun stuff, and it's early Heath Ledger too, which is a lot of fun. What else? I got Mystery Alaska on here.
Russell Crowe.
Oh, that was a fun movie. Yeah.
Any Given Sunday.
It's a good sports movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys mentioned Iron Giant, The Matrix, and Office Space, but I mean, like, there's some good stuff. 99 was a crazy
It
year.
was
Amazing.
good year.
And then we didn't even mention Talented Mr. Ripley. I didn't mention either, and that's
yeah.
a really good performance.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
not
deep
on mine.
cast.
Lloyd, what do you got?
and the Cider House Rules.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, I never saw that.
really,
All right, so my top 5.
That's Michael Caine.
it's a huge hit.
Michael Caine was in that.
Yes, he was.
My top 5 were The Hurricane, Magnolia, Fight Club, Sixth Sense, and Matrix. And my runners-up, I guess, Green Mile, Iron Giant, Three Kings, Office Space, and Blair Witch.
Green Mile's an interesting one because
I'm tired, boss. I saw that once. It's a long movie.
Michael
It's-
Clark Duncan.
it's too long. Michael Clark Duncan steals the movie.
Yeah.
And the big story going into that was that it was Frank Darabont's follow-up to Shawshank, which is a huge success.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of nominations, and it did, but it does. Nobody talks really.
saw
about
it
Green
once.
Mile
Not much,
anymore.
I saw it once,
Yeah.
way back then, not in the theaters. I thought it was good. I feel no reason to ever see it again.
And Frank Darabont largely kind of went away until Walking Dead.
Yeah, well, he made. You know what movie he made that was good that just didn't get any play was The Majestic.
I didn't like that movie.
I like that movie,
but
but it's a different
wanted
movie.
to like that movie so much because I was a Jim Carrey. I'm a
there's
Jim
something
Carrey
about it I
fan.
liked.
And that movie tries to be a Frank Capra movie in modern day.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't work. And I love Frank Capra. Every element of that movie was me, and it didn't work for me.
Because it really doesn't work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I dug it. I mean, but not like I didn't love it, but I dug it. And
I even loved the poster. Like it had like that old time, like 40s looking poster.
Frank,
and
Frank
everything. It was so good.
Darabont for making The Shawshank Redemption just gets a lot of leeway in my book. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this guy put out one of the, like, again, it's hard to say, but like something that's close to a perfect movie.
It's one of the most universally loved movies, like across the board.
As
Like,
it should
gets
be.
Played all
And
the
at
time.
first, it wasn't.
I
When
saw it in the
first
theaters.
came
No,
out.
that movie wasn't a huge success right out
Nope.
the gate.
Saw it in the
That
theaters,
got
man.
cable replay
TNT.
beyond. Yeah.
There was a point where you almost thought that like maybe TNT had a deal with the devil.
Yeah, Turner
that they
owned the
had.
movie.
Turner's
Yeah.
like, that was like, you're gonna play. You know what movie I like, Ted?
Right.
I like The Shawshank Redemption.
What's that, Satan?
You're gonna play it all day, every motherfucking day, right after Saved by the Bell ends at 9:30 in the morning.
You got it.
You got it, buddy. Can I recolor it? It's already in color. Don't touch it, motherfucker. Before I go into our friends list real quick, Lloyd, why don't you give us the top 10 movies that came out that year? Find out what was popular in 1999. And I have a feeling
Not Ravenous.
I have a feeling there might be a Star War in there.
And there might be an
You want me to go
Powers,
backwards or
baby.
starting at number 1?
I almost put that on.
Give us number 10 up to number 1.
All right. So at number 10 that year, The Blair Witch,
Yeah.
140 million, 140.5 million.
With a budget of $50,000.
Yeah, $17.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
A bag
Released
of
in
rocks.
July. July 16th. Number 9, Runaway Bride. 152.2 million.
That
Can
was
you
the
believe
one.
that shit?
That was the one that was kind of like the Pretty Woman, like
Yeah.
not sequel,
Yeah.
but like they're
Yeah,
back. They're,
yeah.
the whole gang, directed by Gary Marshall,
But-
and yeah,
And this is the Julia Roberts year because one of the movies that I left off my list, but I like, is Notting Hill, which starts their whole
let's
thing
not
too.
get into
But
that.
Julia-
oh jeez.
That was July 30th.
You're not a Hugh Grant fan,
No,
John?
it goes back to our old podcast where we were forced to watch some of these.
Oh, John had to watch Notting Hill, and I had to
Hill
watch
and-
Hope Floats.
Oh God, you got the shit stick. Jesus.
The two worst people on earth find each other.
Yes.
Yeah, Harry Connick Jr. is like a real
Sandra Bullock,
douchebag,
right?
and Sandra Bullock's a fucking harpy.
Yeah.
And that they fall in love despite the fact that they seem to hate each other.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Lloyd.
That's
Sorry.
right.
Someday I'll do my Hugh Grant
This one's
impersonation.
for this one for
A lot
Sir
of
John.
stuttering.
Oh, Sir John.
Number 8, The Mummy.
Yeah, it was a
155.4
Yeah.
million. May 7th.
huge amount of money.
Number 7, you're gonna love this one.
Okay.
It was on nobody's list. Big Daddy.
Oh, I heard that movie made a lot. I heard that movie made a ton of money for me, and I lined my pockets with it.
That made 163.5 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He ruled the world for
That
a
was
while.
June
Yeah.
25th. Number 6, Tarzan.
Oh, the
Disney
Disney
one.
Disney
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
171 million, June 16th. Number 5 was The Matrix, 171.5, March 13th.
Wait, are you saying that the Matrix made the same amount of money as Tarzan that year?
A tiny bit more, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Dude,
Phil
Disney
Collins
Prince.
soundtracks
Yes.
rule the world.
You'll be in my heart, John.
Number 4, Austin Powers,
The Spy,
The Spy Who
Shagged
Shagged Me.
Yeah.
That movie sucks.
Oh, hey.
I haven't watched it in a long time. I loved it then, for sure.
I
loved
didn't
it
care
then.
for
Gold member is better.
That's
The first one is a classic.
Oh, yeah.
The second two have funny moments, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
Goldmember's better than the second one.
I think
so.
Goldmember's better.
206 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, June 11th.
And
Back
then,
when comedies made money.
Yeah.
he did the Love Guru.
Oh my God.
Number 3 made nobody's list. It was a good movie, Toy Story 2.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I
that's a
think
good
it's
movie.
the least of the Toy Stories.
Yeah,
That's why
I agree.
put it on.
Well, have you seen the fourth one?
No, I haven't
seen
yet.
Well, yeah, you'll change your mind.
You're not a big fan of Forky or whatever the fuck?
3 movies. That third one ends the series. They didn't need to
I
do
was very
another one.
surprised they made
Should
a
have just
fourth.
been over.
It's because it gets away from being a character-driven piece to let's tell a story about the toys
Yeah.
and not the people that the toys are supposed to be being.
Yeah,
toys
the Andy
for.
connection was a large part of it. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, so Toy Story 2, 245 million November. Number 2, The Sixth Sense, 293.5. And number 1,
Star Trek.
nobody's list,
Phantom Menace.
Star Trek.
Phantom Menace.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Not-
Phantom
not
Menace.
Star Trek. Oh, okay.
$431 million.
Wow.
Because we were all expecting something good and
Yeah.
had to go back a few times to watch it
Yeah.
to make sure.
Yeah, we had to shake our brains out and go, no, it was good, right? It was good.
All right, let's get in before we end this episode.
My tongue.
Communicate. What was it? Luke, what is it? Communications what?
All the communications are down.
Communications disruption can mean only one thing.
Communication disruption can mean only one thing.
Invasion.
Imagine.
All right. We'll have these loose for last. We'll go through some of our friends from out there in the world of Twitter. Stu from Ghost of the Stratosphere, who hates Fight Club. You can find him at not Banff or go to Ghost of the
At not
Stratosphere.
Tyler Durden.
Yeah, at not Tyler Durden. GOTS stratosphere.com. He gave him in no particular order The Matrix, Office Space, Iron Giant, 10 Things I Hate About You,
Yeah.
and Dogma, which didn't get mentioned by anybody. I know you're kind of a Kevin Smith fan.
Yeah, this was the lower part. I like the Jersey stuff. This one was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Carlos Danger, our buddy from the Mobile Horror Companion. Mobile HC666 on Twitter. Number 1, Office Space. Number 2, Magnolia. Blows
Yeah.
my mind that he
All
thinks
right.
Magnolia.
That
Number
that really
3,
does.
Election. Number 4, Fight Club. And number 5, Three Kings. And in the background, Fast and the Furious 2 is happening in my neighborhood.
Oh, another one I mentioned, but it will probably come up on my brother's, so I'll probably wait.
Okay, yeah, you got your brother here too. Before we get to your brother, we're going to talk about a couple of pint friends here. Six-packer Chris Frodell, arguing with myself. Number 1, Fight Club. Number 2, The Matrix. Number 3, The Sixth Sense. Number 4, Stir of Echoes.
Oh,
Kevin Bacon.
yeah.
Number 5, Galaxy Quest. And his wife, the Mrs. Melanie Frodell. Number 1, The Sixth
This
Sense.
is myself.
Arguing with Melanie. Number 1, Sixth Sense. Number 2, American Beauty. Number 3, Blair Witch Project. Number 4, Office Space. And number 5, Election. Jerry at FOJ Live, otherwise known as Jerry Morgan, Andrew's brother. Number 1, Election. Number 2, this should come as no surprise from the guy who picked Adaptation as his Pint Movie Invitational. Number 1, being John Malkovich. Number 3,
which I like.
Dogma. Number 4, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, the movie that he picked for his next Pint Movie Invitational. Number 5, Fight Club. If you go to @Forgot Cinema, these are the two guys from Forgotten Cinema, the show you were just recently on this week. We have, let's see.
Which, by the way, they do a Stir of Echoes episode to show why that got forgotten.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah. It's really good.
So if you go to @Sizzlack, that is Michael Butler. Is that his name? Michael Butler?
Yep.
Number 1, The Matrix. Number 2, and he wrote in the notes on his thing, Fields shakes his head, Phantom Menace. So someone put it in there. Number 3, Sixth Sense. Number 4, Fight Club. And number 5, The Mummy. And then Michael Fields.
To be fair, Mike Butler is a professional pod racer.
Is he Sebulba?
He's Sebulba.
Number 4, Michael Fields, the other Michael from Forgotten Cinema podcast, @MD Field. Number 1, The Matrix. Number 2, Fight Club. Number 3, American Beauty. Number 4, The Iron Giant. And number 5, a movie nobody has mentioned at all here, although it's Michael Mann movie, The Insider.
It's a good movie.
And let's get Lou Skywalker here on the mic real quick. Let's hear what he has a listing of here. Look at him coming in here. Been sleeping over on the couch for the last 3 hours.
Yeah.
Lou, what are your 5 movies from
What happens
1999?
after you edit a video?
I saw you over there.
Passed out.
I saw you over there.
Cryogenic freeze.
Yeah, no kidding. Number 5, Varsity Blues.
Look at that. I've never seen that, but that's got the whipped cream titties, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Vanderbeek.
Honestly, I like that movie a lot.
Movie's fantastic.
It's really good. I saw that in the theater with a buddy of mine, and we had such a good time. We went in thinking it would be a shit because it's a MTV film, and it was a lot of fun.
You confound the fuck out of me sometimes.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
No,
fun.
it's just he confounds me because you figure Varsity Blues, you're gonna get one of those.
It's James Vanderbeek.
He's the coach.
Isn't that's what's her name too? The whipped cream titties is
it's
Allie
Allie
Larder,
Larder,
right?
yeah.
Might title this episode "Whipped Cream Titties."
Whipped cream
Cream titties, there it
There you
is.
go. Lou comes in with the win.
Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love the Mummy.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he sings on the? I've never seen
Yes.
it. But I love you, baby. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that. That has Joseph Gordon-Levitt too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't have a 2. I'm going to go with 1A, 1B, and Matrix and Blair Witch.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good list. Thank you, Lou.
They swap every now and again.
Yeah,
It's just-
I'm more of in a Matrix mood today. All right, so Andrew, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Tell everybody where they can find Nomcast and listen to your episodes and what's coming up.
So Nomcast is the Netflix original movie podcast. You can find it on Twitter and Instagram @NomcastPod. You can also obviously rate, subscribe, like the whole deal on any of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or whatever you like to do. Then, of course, we just had Sir John on the pod for doing Apostle.
Listen to that one and agree with me and Andrew.
Yes,
because,
and not Carlos Danger. Yeah.
I started listening to that one. I
haven't listened to the show yet, but I watched the movie in preparation. I dug the movie. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah. Then you're on our side.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a first of a new series I'm doing called Netflix Year One, which is basically highlighting all the first things that Netflix had done. And the first one I'm doing is the 2 Adam Sandler movies of that year, Ridiculous Six and The Do-Over.
I saw The Do-Over. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that you're doing that.
Yeah, it is god-awful. When Ridiculous Six looks good in comparison,
Ridiculous
it's bad.
Six
Yeah.
is bad.
It's not good.
Do-Over is really bad.
So is it worse than what was it? What was the was it Jane?
Oh, Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill. That's it.
I never saw Jack and Jill.
The duo. Okay, so just to set it up a little bit, my guest on that one, amazing podcast. If you want to get into it, it's called Adam Sandler, Please Stop. Which once I saw the graphic of like this, they basically took Adam Sandler's head and made the small face version of him on the giant body, so it looks like he has like a handicap looking face.
Chewy, chomp.
Yeah. Oh, so bad. But it's a hilarious podcast done by two improvisers from the Chicago area. And I had one of them on my podcast, Robert Bacon. He's very funny. So he goes, and he's watched every Sandler movie to date and has them all ranked. And we go over where those two movies fall, and then we obviously dance around the full spectrum career of Adam Sandler. So,
oh god,
you know,
anyone having to watch Little Nicky again?
Oh yeah,
I'd bring you out for drinks.
Yeah,
I would watch Little Nicky over the Do-Over.
That's
kind of my point.
Just to show you that this is a like-minded individual. He has the Do-Over as 39 out of 40.
Yeah, it's bad.
What's 40?
I think Hotel Transylvania 2, maybe.
She's
not
one of
Murder
them.
Mystery?
I don't know.
Not Murder Mystery?
No,
That was awful.
that one's not bad, but
Trust me,
it's not
watch the
good.
It's
Do-Over.
awful.
I have not seen Murder Mystery. Watch the Do-Over and redefine awful in your book.
I have to go take a look at this because I want to see how far Happy Gilmore is up on the list.
Well, I know because he also has videos online. There's a YouTube one where his ranks go in a video form and it goes through. So if you look up Robert Bacon, Adam Sandler, you'll probably find a bunch of stuff. That episode I already recorded. That'll be out soon. And then I got Between Two Ferns just came out today, so I'm gonna do that one soon. And then we got In the Shadow of the Moon, which is a Michael C. Hall movie coming up. That's kind of like a murder mystery mixed with like a serial killer movie mixed with kind of like maybe an alien or some other monster vibe to it. And then it gets into Oscar season, so we have and Stephen King has a movie mixed in there too. In the Tall Grass, I think, is October 4th.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I like that story.
And then that's the one he wrote with his son, right?
Yeah, Joe Hill.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And then you got like Marriage Story coming up, The King with Timothée Chalamet. Obviously have The Irishman coming through, and then Dolomite Is My Name with Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, yeah.
So there's a bunch of good stuff coming up. So I'm looking forward to it. There's not too much gaps in between. It's like now through December, which they have The Two Popes too with Anthony Hopkins. That's getting a lot of Oscar buzz too. So they got a bunch of good stuff coming up. So we'll cover it all. So subscribe now and don't miss it.
Nomcast, Pint of Comics.
Yeah.
3 podcasts in a row.
Yeah, man.
I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Say the words, John.
See ya.
PintofComics.com. Check us out on YouTube. Hit the button, the bell, whatever the fuck they call it.
Hear the train.
There's the train.
We're out.
We're out.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.